Hi everybody. This video is focused on text structures part 2. And in this video, we're going to take another look at how text structures live in your environment and in your everyday life. But we're also going to take the leap from real life to text to see how text structures look in a book. So first, let's remember the 4 text structures that we focused on in part 1. In part 1, we looked at problem and solution, cause and effect, chronological order, and compare and contrast. Now, I want to show you how these structures showed up last week when we had one of our large trees cut down. This picture shows our box elder tree, how the tree was starting to become diseased and it was growing into our roof. This was a problem. We knew the solution was to have this tree cut down. This would protect the roof and any people or cars from falling limbs. Okay, that showed a problem and solution structure. Now let's take a look at the process of cutting down a tree to think about chronological order. First, the tree cutter will climb up the trunk. Then, one at a time, he will remove the small limbs and drop them down to the ground. Later, as the last small limb is being dropped to the ground, he will then begin to start cutting some of the trunk. Moving his way down, he'll cut the trunk piece by piece until last, all that will be left is the stump of the tree. That video clip showed you an example of chronological order, when we take the steps in a process and we put them in time order. Now, let's take a look at a cause and effect relationship. Because the large trunk pieces were so heavy, when they were dropped to the ground, they created large holes in the grass. This is a cause and effect relationship. Now let's take a look at one last structure. If you look at the before and after pictures that you see, you can think about a compare and contrast relationship. Before and after pictures are a great way to practice that structure. In the before picture, you can see 3 big trunks, all growing from the same stump, providing a lot of shade and beautiful branches. In the after picture, all that's left is a 3-pronged stump with no shade and no tree. And it looks kind of empty. As you can see, these relationships or structures are all around you every day in the events and in the details of your life. Now we're going to take the leap from life to text. And to do that, we're going to use this really cool book called Human Body Odyssey. And in this book, Professor Astrocat, who you can see right here, joins us in this amazing adventure throughout the body, which is probably one of the most amazing creations in the universe. And we're going to explore the 4 structures inside the human body. So let's take a look. Your heart. Easily the hardest working muscle in your body is the heart. It may only be about the size of your fist, but your heart has the tireless job of continuously pumping blood around your body all day and all night for your whole life. In just one day, an adult's heart beats about 100,000 times. A child's heart is a little faster, beating at around 150,000 times a day. As you can see from this section of the text, the author is comparing and contrasting the adult heartbeat to the child's. It says the adult's heartbeat beats about 100,000 times a day, whereas a child's heartbeat is faster, beating at about 150,000 times a day. In this section, the book focuses on the eyes and the purpose that all the different parts of the eye serve. We're going to focus on this section right here. Tear ducts. Keep your eyes wet with salt water and flush out any dust or dirt that may land on your eye. Sometimes water leaks out of them when we are sad, in pain, or laughing too much. If you think about this section, you can notice 2 structures. In the first sentence, It talks about how tear ducts keep your eyes wet with salt water and flush out any dust or dirt that may land on your eye. If you think about it, the dust and the dirt are a problem. The tear ducts create tears to flush them out. That could be a problem and solution relationship. But if you look at the second sentence, it says sometimes water leaks out of them when we are sad, in pain, or laughing too much. That sentence is a different structure. You could think of that as cause and effect. Because if you're in pain, the tears are going to leak out. That's going to be the effect. So sometimes you can find more than one structure in a single section. The last section of the book that we're going to read is called The Large Intestine, and this section is going to help us think about chronological order. Once the food is fully digested, it passes into the large intestine as a watery waste material. The water from the watery waste is sucked out and put back into the body through the bloodstream. The bits that the body doesn't want anymore are turned into feces. So if you think about this section, you can see that the author is putting steps in order. When the food is fully digested, then it passes into the large intestine. Now, the author explains what happens next, even though he doesn't use the word next. He says the water from the watery waste is sucked out and put back into the body through the bloodstream. Then he gives the final piece of information, but he doesn't use the word final. The bits that the body doesn't want anymore are turned into feces. Now this part's a little tricky because the author doesn't use order words like first, then, next, or last. But we can recognize that he is giving steps in a process, order in terms of how the large intestine works. I hope you enjoyed reading some of the Human Body Odyssey with me and thinking about text structures. Be sure to be on the lookout for these text structures when you're reading your informational books too. Okay, so let's talk about today's assignment. You're going to find a nonfiction text called Dreams and Emotions. You're going to read that text looking for structures like cause and effect, compare, contrast, and problem and solution. When you find those structures, you're going to write down those sentences in the chart that is in the attachments. If you have any trouble reading the text, I have included a link so that you can listen to the text if you like. Now, remember, this is your last week of assignments in 5th grade, so do your very best, and I look forward to seeing your work.